Hello everybody, it is Sukasa and welcome back to my Minecraft version 1.6 Let's Play tutorial of Feed the Beast using the DW20 pack. Last time we made the crops growing out there at the farm. I even made some wooden armor, believe that or not, and showed you how very early on you can easily double your ingot output. This time we're going to do many different things probably. First I'm going to go on a mining expedition, but before I do that, I want to show you guys one thing that will come in very handy when you're out and about in the world collecting goodies. One dilemma that is created by the mod packs is the fact that there are so many different ores and things to pick up that your inventory space will run out very quickly, and you won't be able to gather much stuff because there's so many different items to put in your inventory. Now, the mod packs also add a rather convenient way around this, and there are several different ways to increase your inventory space, so to speak. If we look in here, we can type into NEI back, and we will get several different backpack options and some other things that are not. Maybe if I just put pack. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so here's a bunch of different backpacks you can craft. Now, some of these you may be familiar with, some of them you might not. Forestry adds a few, Railcraft adds a few. The forestry one, I think, is what we're going to make first here. There's a miner's backpack and a digger's backpack and several other types, and depending on what type of backpack it is determines what type of items it can hold. So the miner's backpack can hold ores and coal and things like that. The digger's backpack, it will hold, well, things you dig up, like dirt, sand, gravel, clay, stuff like that. Cobblestone as well. So that's going to be very, very useful, and they're pretty cheap to make. Some of your other options here are backpacks that are added by Project Red, which is, they're basically the Red Power backpacks, if you are familiar with Red Power. These are really, really good backpacks because they don't hold just one type of item. You can put anything in them. And they got a pretty good inventory space and can hold a pretty decent amount of items. The problem with this, though, is it's a bit expensive to build. I mean, not really expensive, but I just don't have all the materials required at this stage of the game just yet. It requires these canvas, or sorry, woven cloth rather, and some bone meal. The woven cloth, however, requires 8 string each and a stick. And so 8 string and 8 of the woven cloth means you need an entire stack of 64 string. I don't have anywhere near that much just yet. So we're going to have to put that one on hold, and we're just going to make the miner's backpack because it is fairly cheap, actually. It's just 4 pieces of string, 2 pieces of wool, the 2 iron ingots, and a chest. The digger's backpack is pretty much the same recipe, but swap out the ingots for smooth stone. There are many different ones here, and mostly it's the same recipe, just swapping out those 2 items for 2 other ones. So the forester's backpack, you swap the either ingots, swap out the ingots for wood. The hunter's backpack, instead you put feathers, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do here is I've actually cooked up a couple more of those ingots, processed them in the grindstone, and then cooked them up. And I made a pair of shears with this, and I've also got the 2 ingots needed for the miner's backpack. So, oh good, it's daytime. So I'm going to go out and shear a few of these. Oh, there's a sheep right there. Oh, I think that's Polly. Make sure there's no enemies out here. Don't see any. Alright, Polly. Give me a wool. Nice, 3 pieces. Huh, that's really lucky, actually. I just need 1 more. Da-da-da. Now, the reason I'm shearing some sheep, that's kind of a tongue twister, instead of using my cotton, which I showed you last episode, you can actually use this cotton to make wool by filling up all 9 slots. But I don't want to do that because that's going to use up so much cotton. I'm actually going to save it so I can later on make string out of it and then use that string for the Project Red backpack. So that's why I'm shearing sheep instead of using the cotton. So, let's see, I don't see a sheep. I know there's some around here, so I'm going to go shear them and... Oh, I heard it. I'm going to shear them. Be right back. Oh my, I knew I heard that sheep. I thought maybe he was underground in a cave or something, so I dug down and it got quieter. So I came up here and look at where he is. He is trapped inside this freaking tree. This is a tall tree. Look at this. Holy crap. How the heck did you get up here, buddy? Jesus. That is crazy. Alright, give me a sheep wool, and you might just want to stay in there. Oh man, that's funny. Alright, so now we've got 4 pieces of wool, which is exactly what we need to get both of the backpacks. Alright, so all we do now is just come over here to the craft table, and we put the wool like, oh, you know what, I need 2 chests first, so let me do that. Excellent. Put the 2 chests in the middle, and the wool like so. Ingots on that side, and then the string around the outside. And that gives me a miner's pack. And then swap in the spot that the ingots went, the smooth stone, and now we get the digger's pack. Awesome. Now, the great thing about these packs is that they will automatically pick up any of the materials that should go into its pack. So, the digger's backpack will automatically pick up cobblestone, dirt, sand, stuff like that. Boom, boom. And you see, they automatically went. First, though, it filled up what was on my hotbar. It filled up that stack of dirt on the hotbar. And the leftovers went into the pack. Now, that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing you can do with these forestry backpacks is you can customize them by holding down Shift and right-clicking. And now, you see the padlock on it means that it is locked in and is not accepting new items. So, if I were to pick up dirt now, instead of going into the pack, it would go into my inventory, as so. But we don't want that to happen. Now, the green arrow means it's receiving. Now, that doesn't have to be on for it to receive stuff from on the ground that you're picking up. What that means is if you walk up to a chest, anything that is in that chest that could potentially go into this backpack, all you do is put the thing in your hand, and then you shift right-click the chest, and well, if I had anything in here, let's just put some dirt in here to demonstrate. Shift right click, and now the dirt's gone, and it's automatically gone into the pack. How cool is that? Now, the opposite mode, the next one, by shift right clicking, is the yellow arrow. Now, it works also with the chest with the shift right click, and it will deposit any items that are in the backpack automatically into the chest, rather than having to do them one at a time. Pretty useful. The other cool thing about the yellow arrow, and this is what I leave the digger's pack on at all times, because it is not just resupplying into chests, but it is resupplying items onto your hotbar. So let me demonstrate this. If I, because I've got dirt and cobble on my hotbar here, if I start laying down dirt, look at that. It's automatically refilling the stack as I use it, taking the dirt out of the backpack and putting it onto the hotbar. Pretty cool. So, that means that as long as you have the item, in this case dirt, in the backpack, it will keep a full stack on your hotbar, and you don't have to go mucking around refilling your hotbar. Pretty cool. So those are the 3 different modes on the backpacks, and how that works. And yeah, it will be very, very useful for me to have both of these on my mining expedition. So, I think that was all I wanted to cover with them. I'm going to go do that mining expedition now, and I will be back after I get some goodies, and we will talk about some of the cool things we can build with the better materials. So I will be back. Alright, after a bit of mining, I had to come back up because my good iron pick is about to break, but I want to go back out and get some more stuff. So what I'm going to do here is take some of this blue gemstone called sapphire that I picked up. It's added by Project Red, and what we can do with this is make tools and a sword out of it. So it's pretty useful stuff. There are 3 different types of colored gems that are added by Project Red: sapphire, peridot, and ruby. And in that order is how good they are. Sapphire sword is the equivalent damage of a diamond sword, but its durability is closer to that of irons. So so that's pretty cool. And the ruby does the most. It does like one more than a diamond sword would. So what I'm going to do is make a pick and a sword out of it, and that will be much better than iron. Awesome. Alright, I'm going to head back down and get a few more things, and I'll be right back and we'll get started. Alright, so I'm just burrowing a line out down here at Y12, and check out what I run into. Oh yeah, that's right, glowstone in the overworld. What? It's crazy. That's because what we find underneath is an infernal beehive that spawns in the overworld now in some like magic-y biomes. Pretty cool. So we get a bit of free glowstone early on without having to go to the nether. Nice. Now this thing is a beehive added by magic bees, and you cannot pick it up with your pick, so you need a specialized tool for that. It is called a scoop, and it requires some wool. I don't have one at the moment though. And there's water up there, that's interesting. So I'm going to have to leave that where it's at. But I wanted to show you guys that, the redstone dust, and that's where that came from. So I'm going to continue to pick up a few more things. I'm not quite sure if I've got enough for what I was planning on doing, so I will be back in a minute. Okay, I've climbed back up to the lair because all of my new tools are just about broken, and we got a pretty good haul. We got 12 gold, 56 redstone, and 22 glowstone without going to the nether, and 2 peridot, and I found a slime chunk down there and killed the slime and got these 2 slime balls. That's awesome because the way you acquire slimes has changed quite a bit since 1.5. Back then, green slimes spawned in swamps, and the blue ones just spawned like all the time at night. That has been changed big time. It's gone pretty much back to the way it used to be with the 1.3 version of Minecraft, where the green slimes only spawn in specific random locations and specific random chunks underground. So they're a lot harder to come by. I'm really glad I found one. So that's awesome. So what we're going to get started on now, that we've got plenty of resources, is we're going to get a replacement for this grindstone, so we don't have to manually process our ores. We're going to have an automated ore processing system. And we're going to work through thermal expansion to do that. So I'm going to clean this up and get what I need to start working with the thermal expansion mod, and I'll be right back once I do. Alright, with everything processed now, I have all that we need to get started with the thermal expansion mod. I actually ended up with an extra 10 and extra gold ingots, so that's awesome. Alright, so to find out what we need to get started with the thermal expansion, just going to come with the item subsets, mod, thermal expansion, shift left click, and it shows you everything that comes from the thermal expansion mod. This is actually one of my favorite mods. It used to be basically a add-on pack for Buildcraft, and it used Buildcraft energy, the MJ. It has since changed and been updated for 1.6. Now it uses its own power source, so it really doesn't need you to have Buildcraft installed, so it's kind of a standalone mod now. But we still need the same machines, basically, the pulverizer and whatnot. Now, the pulverizer is such. We need a vanilla piston, so I'm going to open up my craft window first and then pull up the recipe for it, and with the question mark, shift left click, and I just need one of them though. Awesome. Machine frame, alright, and shift left click that. Sweet. I think we do need a second one, but hold off on a sec. Redstone reception coil. Should click that. One of those. And that should be it. Shift click that and pull out the pulverizer. Awesome. And this is going to basically be the replacement for this thing. So we don't have to manually turn that gear anymore. Woohoo! Awesome. Alright, now, once it's pulverized, we need a way to cook it. So we're going to use a redstone furnace. It used to be called the powered furnace. It's pretty much the same recipe though, so I will need brick blocks. So I'll need to turn these bricks here into 2 brick blocks. And I will end up needing another redstone reception coil and another machine frame. I should have known. Alright, and there's a redstone furnace. Now, to power these machines, though, I will need a power source. Thermal expansion now provides its own, and it's pretty much the same as before. We get a steam dynamo. They're all called dynamos now instead of engines. So, a steam dynamo, and that we can use coal as a fuel source. The magmatic, which is fueled by lava, compression, so on and so forth. I'm not going to go into all of these right now, but because all we need is the steam one. So we can see here is the recipe for it. And I need some copper gears, which we can make in 2 different ways. Going to make the cheaper version of it. Alright, we make the redstone transmission coil here. Make 1 of those. The gear we want to go with is the one from Forestry for Minecraft, and that's because it doesn't use an ingot in the middle, so it uses the stone gear. And for that we need the a wood gear, like I mentioned before, just surrounded by cobblestone. So, going to make 2 of those. Excellent. And 2 into stone, and then we surround that with copper, and we get the copper gear. Awesome. And that should be everything for the steam dynamo. Yep. Cool. Now, what goes between the dynamo, how it connects to the redstone furnace and the pulverizer, is the next item. And if we go to the next page here, we see it's a leadstone energy conduit that transfers 80. Hardened energy is the next step up for 400, and there is still the redstone energy conduit for 10,000. Awesome. We definitely want the cheapest one, which is the leadstone. So, I'm going to make that. All right. Now, let's figure out how we want to align this. Alright, so how we're going to set this up is, God, the zombies are disconcerting. We're going to put a pulverizer down. Let's see, put down the right, what the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened there? That was weird. Okay, put the pulverizer down. And the redstone furnace. And what we need to do is dig out underneath them. Gonna have to do that. There we go. Underneath them, we put the leadstone energy conduit. Awesome. That's kind of a mess up, but we'll fix that in a minute. I'm gonna dig it out this way, lay down the conduit. Yes, and this is uranium, which will come in handy much later as a fuel source, so definitely want to pick that up. Alright, the steam dynamo we need to connect to this now. What do I have left here? If we just connect the steam dynamo like that, will it work? Maybe. Maybe so. So one other thing I should show you guys that you can actually use for the different thermal expansion things like the energy conduits and the other pipes, the fluid ducts. You're going to need a wrench, and the wrench right here is made like this: iron and tin. I'm gonna make one of those real quick. Alright, and with the crescent hammer we can do many various things to thermal expansion objects like energy conduits, steam dynamos, etc. If I hold shift and right click, I can pick them up very easily. Pretty nice. Now that we have this thing built, what do we do with it? Well, we start off with a pulverizer here, and the pulverizer is where we'll put in our ore right here in the blue spot, and it will then pulverize it down into pulverized dust. And we can see that in here in the recipes on this arrow. If we click that, we'll see all of the pages for everything that can be pulverized. So there's actually 33 pages of it, quite a few things. And we see that if we put ore in here, like lead ore, it gets ground down into 2 pulverized lead, and each one of those will smelt into an ingot. So basically 2 ingots for 1 ore. And we also see, though, that there's a 10% chance to get pulverized silver in the process, so an ingot of silver out of it, 1 in 10 times. That's pretty cool. That's one of the main reasons why you want to use the pulverizer for doing this. Now, what this extra ingot is going to be is determined by the ore that you're pulverizing. So if this was copper, it would actually be a small chance to get gold instead of silver. So that's pretty cool. And once it gets pulverized down, it comes over here into this slot here that's colored orange, and the extra ingot comes down here. Now what these colors mean, the blue is input and the orange here is output, and we see that the sides of it are colored as well. And that correlates to the configuration tab in here, the green one with the gear made out of stone on it. If we click that, we see the different sides of the machine, and we see that the top and the bottom, the left and the right, and this one down here is the back. Now if we click through these two, so there's no color on them, that shuts them off. So the bottom and the back want to shut off the left one as well, so that way the right one is set to orange to output, and the top one here is blue for input. And that's because to the right of the pulverizer we have the redstone furnace. Awesome. Now we're doing the same with the redstone furnace. We need to make sure that its left side that's connected to the pulverizer is set to input, so it can take the dust in and automatically smelt it up into an ingot. So since that's blue and the right side is set to orange, it will export it from the process right here, and if we had set a chest here, it would then put the ingot into the chest. So that means it goes automatically from ore to ingot in a chest ready for us to use later. How awesome is that? But to power these things up, this bar right here shows how much power it has in it, and it's no longer called MJ, it's powered by RF, and that's for redstone flux. We need 48,000 of it to fill up its internal buffer, and that comes from the steam dynamo. And if we right click on the steam dynamo here, we see that it's got an internal buffer as well, and over here is going to be the steam that is generating, and that comes from the water level and your fuel source, which in this case will be coal. And so what we need to do here is to get a water source. So I'm going to go get another bucket of water and make an infinite water supply right here, and then I'll show you how to power up the steam dynamo and get this process running. Alright, with an extra bucket of water now, we have enough for a infinite source. So I'm actually going to put that infinite source back here for right now. The reason for that will become apparent very soon. Let me just think about how I want to do this. This is how I'm going to do it. Pour the bucket in here. Put that bucket in there. And infinite water source. Nice. Very nice. Now, we just fill up the steam engine with the bucket of water, like so. And it can hold 4 buckets worth, so I'm just going to put 4 buckets worth in right quick. There we go. Then we just drop the coal in, and it starts to produce steam, and that produces the energy that will send out along the conduit and starts to fill up the internal buffers on the two machines. Awesome. Now the other tabs that are in here, the one at the top, the blue one with the blue background, that shows your RF, and its maximum power usage on the redstone furnace is 20, and we can also see the pulverizer has one of 40, so that's 60. And we see that the energy output of one steam dynamo is 80, so we're producing more than enough. We could actually put another redstone furnace onto this, and then it would top out at 80, and it produces 80, so then it would max out. So I'll probably do that here pretty soon, actually. Just have 2 furnaces going at once. So now that they're full up, let's just start dropping stuff in and cooking these up. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Now, for at the moment, I'm going to have to be definitely got to keep an eye on this water. It goes through the water pretty quickly, so I have to refill it by hand for right now. But I'm going to automate that very shortly, just as soon as some of the stuff processes. You know what? Another thing we can do here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Okay, I'm going to take a crafting table, turn it into a craft station, set it down right here so I have an easy use for the crafting window. Awesome. Alright, since we got this internal buffer filled up, it's not actually getting out of there into the furnace. And it's just dissipating, so we need to fix that by throwing in an energy cell into the mix. And I'm going to make this pretty low-grade energy cell that's new. It's just been added with the 1.6, and it's called the leadstone. And just going to make it like so. I'm going to need a block of redstone, though, which is just 9 redstone filling the whole thing, kind of like an iron block. So I'm going to make that. Then the leadstone energy cell frame. Then we just make a redstone conductance. This is going to require electrum, though. So, problem here is that I need to shut off my output here, because I need to grind up just some gold. I'm going to pulverize that back down into gold dust. I'm also going to do the same for this silver ingot. Right now they've got gold and silver. What I'm going to do with the pulverized gold and the pulverized silver is I'm going to combine it together into electrum blend. And this electrum blend I'll then smelt into an ingot. Oops, that's not the right one. I'll put it in the furnace, smelt that down into an ingot. And with that ingot, then we make the conductance coil. Cool. And now we can make the energy cell. Bam. And we put that down. We're just going to take the crescent hammer and shift right click this, pull that up, and we'll just place it down right here. Now, the thing right here should be outputting that into here, so we need to set it up so the alright. This side of it needs to have an input, and the output needs to be that side right there. Yellow disconnects it, and orange is output. Okay? So now it should output any energy produced in the steam dynamo. It'll fill up into the leadstone energy cell, and then it will output from there into the different machines. Cool. Alright, and what we're going to do here is just make a chest real quick. Boom. There we go. And I'm just going to plop it right here, and since that is orange, it will output into the chest automatically, and we'll see the goodies that we're getting from here. Nice, we're getting some pulverized gold out of our copper. That's the chance that copper gets, lead gets silver, gold comes from copper. That's pretty cool. So now that that's going, Okay, so the last couple of things to cover before we go. If I want to set it so I have multiple different types of ore that I want to smelt one after the other and automate the whole process, since we can do that with this, since the blue top here is set to input, we can set a hopper, or rather a Buildcraft hopper up here, and have the ore just dumped into it, and it will automatically take one stack after the other and process it. So the chute is what it's called. It's from Buildcraft. This was originally called the hopper, and actually the vanilla one came later. When the vanilla one came out, it stole its name. It even stole its recipe pretty much, and the Buildcraft hopper was forced to change its name to a chute. It's pretty messed up. But this is what we need here. A stone gear, as we saw before. It's wooden gear with some cobblestone around it, a chest, and a little bit of iron. Not much at all. We can handle that. Make it into stone. And then make a chute. And then we just put the chute down right here, and anything we fill into the chute will automatically filter down into the pulverizer one at a time. So we'll put some tin and some gold, silver. Actually, put a quicker one first. There we go. It feeds out from the left to the right, and then the one at the bottom. That's the order that it pulls out from. So now we can just dump a bunch of stuff in here and have it automated processing, smelting, and all of our ingots will end up down here. Pretty cool. But not quite done yet, because our energy cell here is losing energy. As we can see, it stores 400,000 of the RF, and it works just like a battery, so we can run our machines without having the steam dynamo up and running. Pretty cool. But since it's dwindling, we need to get this up and going again. And the reason it stopped, it's out of water, of course. And I'm tired of filling this up one bucket at a time. So what I'm going to make to solve this solution is actually added to the game by thermal expansion itself. And it's called the aqueous accumulator. So I'm going to make one of these. All it requires is a bucket, another machine frame, some glass, a pneumatic servo, which is just redstone, iron, and glass, and a couple of pieces of tin. So I will be right back. Alright, and what we do with this aqueous accumulator is we take it and set it down in the middle of the infinite source with a source block on each side, so we put it in the middle, and there we go. And it starts to fill up with water, and it will just stay filled up forever. So the top part here is set to orange, so it will output, and we need to output it into a pipe that will carry fluid. And this is where we can save some materials over the previous versions. I would have used the Buildcraft fluid transport pipe, but that requires gold. Thermal expansion has its own fluid pipe that we see on page 2 here, called the fluid duct, and it requires hardened glass. But since we can't make that just yet, we can get the cheaper opaque version that we can't see the liquid flowing through with just copper and lead. So I'm going to do that right now. Copper and lead, that gives us a fluid duct. Now with the fluid duct, we can just put it down like so, and voila, it fills with fluid, as we can see down the middle of the right of the screen, and it's pouring water automatically into the steam dynamo here. Awesome. And it keeps it filled up at all times. Pretty sweet. And if for some reason your fluid ducts don't connect, you can hit them with the crescent wrench to make them connect. So I think that is about it that I wanted to cover in this episode. We've got our basic thermal expansion setup up and going, even with the battery powering stuff, and we've got our steam dynamo automated water input system going. So pretty cool. So now we just fill this up with coal, it charges up the battery, and then the battery just runs the machines. So that's pretty cool. So that way we don't have to always fire up the engine when we want to use one of the machines. We've got a nice 400,000 buffer in here in that battery. So I think that's a good wrapping up point for this episode. I hope you all did enjoy. Maybe you learned something. If so, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe for more. Until next time, this is Sukasa signing out. I hope you all have a good one.